What's the sad truth about intelligent people? Story 1. The sad truth is that being smart isn't even an excellent indicator of living a happy and fulfilling life. You could be brilliant and intellectually capable, but if you got beat up as a kid, your parents died, you developed some personality disorder, etc., you're way worse off than someone well adjusted with a below average intelligence. Story 2. I was trying to solve a challenging puzzle, Sudoku. I got halfway through, certain I had the correct answers, but then as I got further, more impossible moves, mistakes, and errors cropped up, showing that in reality, I had to accept the hard truth. I had to backtrack on not just some, but everything I'd started with the wrong number in the wrong place. How many people are willing to throw out, count their age, 38 years of truth when they find out the beginning foundation is a lie? If you know more of than one, I may be looking for a support group. Story 3. My youngest child is in kindergarten, U.S. first year of school. For some reason, he picked up math and is always working on it, like challenging us to give him math questions to solve and challenging us to see if he can stump us. He complains a lot about doing math assignments in school because they're super boring. So at first, his teacher let him work ahead on his own, and he started doing first grade and then second grade math. But for some reason, she rescinded that offer and now gives him more kindergarten level math when he's done with the first boring assignment. So to him, that is punishment. The school is teaching him to be average and conform. Otherwise, you'll be punished for running ahead. Story 4. I went to engineering school with a 12-year-old. His parents had to attend classes with him because his motor skills couldn't keep up with the note-taking requirement. He was a friendly enough kid, but those of us 18 plus couldn't relate to him outside of school, and he couldn't relate to kids his age. It seemed like a lonely existence. Story 5. The approach your roommate's parents took is exactly what my aunt and uncle did with one of their daughters. She's 6 months older than me and far exceeded me in school, but they would not allow her to start college until she turned 17. She now has a child like her and sees the value of how her parents handled it. She's doing the same with her son. I firmly believe this is the best path for these people. She's significantly more well-adjusted than the college kid I was educated with. Story 6. One of my best friends is a little slow. He was in the special ed classes, but when it comes to engines and working on cars, he's a genius. He knows how all that stuff works. I'm pretty mechanically inclined, but he's on a whole other level. If I have an issue with one of my vehicles I can't figure out, then I call him up, and we get it solved quickly. He was also brilliant at geometry, which helped him build roll cages for his rock crawlers. Story 7. My friend's dad was a college professor, so he had full access to a university library. The AP classes didn't challenge her, but she had plenty of advanced material to read and learn for fun. She also got much intellectual stimulation from her hobbies, mainly music. My friend's parents were also open with her that she was in school for social development. She was smart enough to know what that meant, even if she didn't have the wisdom and maturity as a kid to fully understand how important that would be for the rest of her life. Story 8. A maths prodigy. At a young age, sitting in university math classes at age 9. His parents accelerated his math study but tried hard to keep him amongst kids his age for other courses and encouraged him to study broadly rather than rush ahead. So what's the point in being the youngest to do something if you're socially limited and lonely? Story 9. Being held back by a boss who's less intelligent and insecure is a thing too. I'm a teacher and don't ever want to be the boss. I like being in my classroom, so I have to endure administrators who have no business holding the job and abuse their power to punish anyone they sense is intelligent and confident. I make a point of not correcting them publicly and not making any of the know-it-all habits some bright people have, but many of them have targeted me over the years for ridiculous things just because they can. Story 10. It's sad that knowledgeable people are at higher risk for mental disorders than the general population. I was in gifted programs throughout K-12, and everyone expected me to do things. When I got to college, however, crippling social anxiety and depression overwhelmed me. It took me way longer than it should to have to get help and figure things out because you're smart, you'll figure it out, was all the advice I ever got. So now I feel like I'm constantly behind, living a much more ordinary life than my parents, teachers, and I thought I should have. Story 11. I'm good at math and getting a PhD in statistics right now. I once worked for one afternoon as a busboy. It was legitimately the most challenging thing I've ever done because I'm just not built for that. I got mad respect for people who don't crumble under immediate stress in social situations. Story 12. I was studying organic chem in the hall before my lab. Some old dude walking by struck up a convo and helped me with some molecular orbital theory. He was super friendly and a phenomenal tutor. So as I was heading into the lab, I shook his hand, thanked him, and told him my name. He was a Nobel laureate who had retired but still liked to wander the halls of the building named after him. I still think about how I might have been good at organic if he had been my prof. But then I realized that nobody could make me understand that voodoo. So there is a reason my grad thesis was in analytical physical chemistry, and that's because it wasn't organic. Story 13. It often makes communication difficult because brilliant people tend to connect the dots faster, understand situations more quickly, make quicker evaluations, etc. Others with average intelligence need to catch up. It's like watching a computer load up with an SSD versus a standard HD. There's just a different processing speed there. Some brilliant people are polite about it and slow down and allow people to get there on their own. Others zone off into their world while people catch up, and others get incredibly frustrated that the rest of the room isn't keeping their pace. Story 14. I went to a dinner party hosted by one of my father's friends. He was the dean at a major university in a major city. I was only 24, had recently finished grad school, and was quite pompous about my achievements. My father's friend was amiable and cordial, very down to earth, but within an hour of meeting him, I could tell he was light years ahead of anyone in the room. Very observant of the most minute body language, he steers any conversation into a more pleasant place, and it's hard to describe how clever this guy was. Story 15. I was identified as highly gifted in elementary, and all of my life consisted of my family being like, "You're smart, you've got this for anything." It burnt me out, and I rebelled in middle and high school, then ended up with depression. Doing much better now, and I'm in grad school, but being gifted is such a fucking pressure. Story 16. When I was around 12, I smoked my entire family a Trivial Pursuit. I filled my pie, restarted it, and filled it again before they filled theirs once. My dad accused me of cheating. He was angry. They were all angry. They acted like people get when they see someone cut in line. That's the rub. People don't praise you or turn to you for advice. They resent you and start looking for ways to undermine you. Story 17. It's sad to see dumb people making dumb decisions in front of your eyes and not be able to do anything but only give them advice. Unfortunately, most helpful advice is a waste. Most dumb people argue a lot instead of reflecting and using critical thinking, so you'll never win an argument against a dumb or biased person. So walk away and tell them that they're right.